Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video, episode 2 of our channel here, building out this startup in public. So in today's video I want to go ahead and I want to kind of build a landing page for the project, and I want to kind of take you guys along the journey from start to finish and show you how I built this one, and of course you guys can go ahead and learn from it, take from it, and go ahead and actually clone it and use it for your own project if that's what you want to do. And yeah, so this is what it looks like right now. There's very minimal content right now. The videos right here that I have for placeholders don't make a lot of sense, but as we continue to grow the project, we will have more and more content that will obviously be related to the project. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you what the inspiration or where I took inspiration from for this project. So here, this is sort of the hero section. Here you have this kind of video on autoplay, and I was kind of able to replicate that with this one right here. This was just a free video that I downloaded from Pexels, and yeah, same with this one along here, and then this one as well. These two down here are the same. So yeah, so this is sort of what it is. I really like this website. I think the design's super sleek and clean. It kind of explains right away what it is, and I think it's not too difficult to understand. The flow of the content is super nice. Animations are smooth, and yeah, so that's sort of where I kind of initially got my inspiration from, and so I kind of wanted to replicate that. So this is what it looks like using Shadcn UI, Tailwindcss, and of course Nextjs to build this project. This navbar component is built with Shadcn UI, and I'm going to kind of show you guys how to build that in the tutorial. So yeah, and then if I click on pricing, it scrolls me down to pricing, and it's also mobile responsive. So if I go ahead and I check it out like this is what a mobile user would see. And then I have the menu here. And these links don't do anything as of right now, but that's okay because I don't have any documentation. I don't have any thing to actually point users to right now. This is sort of just like the layout and design. Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's go ahead and let's jump right into it, and let's start building this thing out from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to go to the Shadcn UI documentation. So if you want to check it out, this is the link to it. I've also put a link in the description below for just easier access if you want to do that. So let's go ahead and let's open a new VS Code, and we can get this thing started. So first thing we want to do is we want to go open a terminal. So let's go into our terminal, and let's just let's go through step by step. So the first thing we're going to want to do here, I'm going to go kind of split these up so you can see both, is we want to go ahead and we want to create an app or a folder in our project. So I'm using the Nextjs theme. Make sure you kind of follow along here so you don't kind of get mixed up later on in the video. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to copy this command here. So npx create next app at latest. I'm going to change this to be something else so that I don't get too confused, and make sure it's a little bit different because again, you just want to keep your folders different, of course, and make sure that you know what it's referring to. So I'm going to do npx create next app at latest, so exact same there. And then here's where I want to differentiate my folder, so I'm going to call it YouTube video. You can go ahead and you can call it landing page, you can call it whatever you'd like. Actually, I'll go ahead and I'll call it landing page just for simplicity. Do landing page, and then I'm going to do dash TypeScript. I'm going to do this, it looks like Tailwind, and then I think it's ESL, yeah. So I'm just going to kind of have these side by side here. So npx create next app at latest, my app, landing page, TypeScript, Tailwind, and then I also want the ESLint configuration. So ESLint, and then it's going to confirm. So it's going to go ahead and create the folder. It's going to ask me a couple questions. So it's going to say, would you like to use a source directory? It's already pre-configured to no, so all you have to do is hit enter, and that's the correct answer. So would you like to use the app router? Yes. Again, it's pre-configured. Would you like to use custom import alias? We're going to say no, and then you can go ahead and leave those as your answers. So the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to actually want to go ahead and wait for this to configure, and then we're going to open our folder, and then we're going to add Shadcn UI to it. So let's give it a second here to load. Shouldn't take too long. Cool, so we've gone ahead and we've created the landing page. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually open it up right here. So open, and then landing page, open. Perfect. So now I should, or you guys should see something like this. it should say landing page here along the top as well, and then you should be able to see your components here. So this is the content that you should have that is just automatically generated if you went ahead and you followed the steps and then use this command. So the next thing we want to add is we want to go ahead and go new terminal. And another way of checking or confirming that we are actually in the correct folder is it will say the folder that you're in here right before the command line, which is perfect. So then the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to copy and paste this command. So in our project, we're going to be using npm, and you can go ahead and you can just do Control-C and Control-V, and it will kind of, again, ask you a bunch of steps, and we're going to kind of go through them one by one. So would you like to use TypeScript? Of course, yes. Default styles, yes. Slate, global CSS. Would you like to use CSS variables? Yes, yes. Enter, 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 and perfect. So you see how this file was automatically generated, and it works perfectly for what we want to do. So that's awesome. Now I want to go ahead and I just want to run the application. I want to make sure that everything actually works and we haven't forgotten a step. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to go to localhost 3000 on my computer, and it's going to, let's see what it generates. So perfect. Yeah, so it looks like everything is working perfectly. And we can go ahead and we can actually remove all the content from here because we don't need any of it. So going from this main div all the way down, we can just remove everything. We can go main to main here, and we can just replace it with a div, and then we can just say hi, for example. And then this should automatically change, which is perfect. And then perfect, we can remove the image here. And perfect. So this is going to be the entry folder or file for our project, and this is kind of where we're going to put all the content in here. So it's going to be all displayed here. So that's cool. So we can leave that as it is right now. One thing I also want to change is I want to change the font. You can't notice it right now, but if I go ahead and I change and I just put like a bunch of content, the font that appears here, I personally don't like it as much, and I kind of want to make it look professional and stuff like that, and kind of really replicate the one that I was able to build here with this font. So let's go ahead and let's change the font right away. So what we can do is we can go into this where it says import enter. We can go and we can say import outfit. You can leave this the same here. I'm going to change the const enter to const font, and then we're going to change the enter to outfit again, and then we're going to call the function here. So we're going to say font.classname, and then I don't know if you'll be able to notice it right off the bat here, but this content, you can kind of see small differences in the text, but it's going to be the perfect or the font that we want here. So if you got up until this stage, that's perfect, and yeah, that's fantastic. So we'll continue from there, and let's build up the next components. Let's go ahead and continue building this project from where we left off. So as of right now, we have this here. It doesn't look too good, so let's change that. One thing I want to, the first thing I actually want to build out first is the navbar. So let's go ahead and create a folder in our app. So let's go into app, click new folder, and then we'll call it navbar. Perfect. And then what we're going to do in here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a page.tsx. So page.tsx, and then here we are going to create our first component. So what you're going to want to do is you want to do sfc, and then this is going to be a kind of like a hotkey, and it's going to kind of pre-fill the component for us. So if we do sfc, it generates this. We can do navbar, and then you can go ahead and you can do div, and you can say hi. So if you don't have that extension, it is this one right here. You can go ahead and you can go to the bottom here, and it is the ES7 React Redux extension snippet, code snippet, and this is where you're able to generate all of the different code snippets essentially. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's continue from there. So yeah, make sure to download this one here, and yeah, fantastic. Another thing that we're also going to have, make sure you're going to want to have downloaded is you're going to want to have this component here called the Tailwindcss one. So you can just search it up. It's called Tailwindcss IntelliSense, and this one's going to be super cool when we're actually customizing components and stuff like that. You're going to be able to see some of the like kind of pre-filled changes in what they look like here exactly in inside of your terminal. So for example this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go actually import this component into our home. So let's go back. we can delete all of this here, and we can go, we can say navbar, and then I got the autofill. So make sure it's importing the navbar from /navbar /page, because that is where our component is found. So this is where it is. You can see in our navbar, this one has a blue background because we've gone ahead and changed that. But yeah, that's perfect. So if you got up until that point, that's fantastic. So that's gonna be the first little thing. Then the next thing we're gonna want to do is we're gonna want to actually build out a. So in here in this folder, or I should say project, there's sort of like 3 components to it. You have your logo out here on the far left hand side, and then you also have like this navbar kind of like menu, and then you also have like these buttons, or like option buttons or action buttons, and then you can kind of see how it changes as you get to a smaller screen, where the action buttons go away and then the navbar actually goes inside of here. So let's go ahead and let's kind of create that right away. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to go and we're going to create our logo component first. So inside of your navbar, go and create a file called logo.tsx, and then inside of logo.tsx, same thing, sfc, enter, and then logo, and then tab, and then you'll be inside of your return. So then you can go ahead and you can say this is a logo, and then perfect. So that would be the first one, and then you can go ahead and you can create another file called, this one's going to be called navigation bar. So that's going to refer to this portion right here. So we can say navigation bar.tsx, sfc, navigation, oh, I'm going to go back, navigation bar, and then go div, and we can say hi as well. So that is our navigation bar. And then the third one, or the third component that we're going to want to build out, is the right hand side here where the buttons are. So let's go back into our navbar, create a new file called, I think it's called, yeah, let's do action buttons, I believe. Yeah, action buttons makes sense. Action buttons.tsx, we'll do sfc, action buttons, and then go ahead and click div, and then we can say action buttons as well. So awesome. So now one thing that we can go ahead and we can do is we can actually import all of these functions into our navbar page.tsx. So that way this, or these functions are, or these components are only referenced like inside of the navbar and nowhere else. And that's exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and let's do this. We'll go import our logo. So it's going to be import logo from /logo. We can go ahead and we can import our navigation bar. So navigation bar, and then that's going to be from /navigation bar. And then we have our final one, which is going to be action buttons, which is going to be /navigation action buttons. So if you have that, that's perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of show you what that looks like here. So this is what you should have. We're going to make it a little bit better right now. So let's go ahead and let's remove this BG blue because we don't want a blue background. And then let's do flex, not capitalize. We'll do flex, justified between. We're going to do item center, px10, and then we're going to do a border of bottom. So you can kind of see what that looks like now, where you have your logo is going to be here, the navbar, and then the buttons will be on the right hand side. So let's go and remove that, and then let's continue building out. So the first thing we want to do is we want to build out the logo. It's the simplest or easiest one to build. So what we can do is we can go ahead and we can import an image from Nextimage. So we can import image from Nextimage, and then we can go ahead and we can just import it right away. So we can say image, and then we can say we have to make it point to something. So let's do this. I'm going to remove this as a logo. And then, yeah, so if you're wondering what these autofills are, these are actually GitHub Copilot. It's an extension that you can pay like $10 a month for, and it will go ahead and kind of like help you as you code. I highly recommend it. It's really good, and it really is like, it speeds up a lot of time when you're coding and stuff. So what you can see right here is our first error. It's not necessarily an error, although the only thing it's saying right now is that this src does not exist anywhere in our folder. We have not referenced this image anywhere, and we need to go ahead and do so. So what I like to do is in my public folder, I like to go ahead and I like to create a new folder called images. And then inside of my images, I want to go ahead and I want to create another folder actually called logos. So I'm going to do logo, and then I'm going to actually import an image so that it works like as expected. So I have gone ahead and I have a logo SVG here, and that is what it's called. So it's going to be called images. Inside of images, I have another folder called logo, and then I have a file called logo1 SVG. So make sure in my logo, I have that mapped exactly the same. So I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to change this to slash images slash logo slash logo one, and then I'm going to do .png is going to be .svg. Cool. So that is the first logo. If you want to go ahead and you want a free logo to use for your project, I highly recommend using this website here called logoipsum.com. This website, you can go ahead and you can just copy and paste any logo just so it's easier for development. We're going to use this later on in our project as well when we're building out the carousel of logos of like companies or teams that we work with until we actually have real companies and teams, and then we can go ahead and we can swap those logos out. But for placeholder stuff, I would recommend using this website here. It's entirely free. Just download it, and yeah, the images are very nice. So go back to this, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to resize this because I mean it's just too big right now, right? So I'm gonna go to 50. Oh no, not the right way. 50 and perfect. So that works for me. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to kind of create the action buttons. So I'm going to go to my action buttons, and I'm going to leave the navigation bar for the end because it is a little bit more complicated and there are more steps for it. So let's go ahead and let's go to the action buttons. Perfect, we're in there. And now, actually, I lied. We can actually build out this component at the same time. Really, I mean, there's still some steps regarding Shadcn UI here, but what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to go ahead and go into the Shadcn UI component, website, and then go all the way down to components. And then here on the left hand side is all of their components. You can see or preview them here, and then it tells you this command line. So we don't want this one, we don't want that, but we want to actually go ahead and use their button component. So their button component looks like this, and we want to actually copy the command line right here. So we're going to take this, so make sure you copy it, click npm. Then you want to go into our own project, and where this plus sign is found here, you want to click that. So you create like a new terminal, and then I want to close the previous one. So this is the previous one here, and I want to just close it. And so essentially what that's going to do is going to shut down your terminal. So if I go back to localhost 3000, it's going to say the site cannot be reached because we are not currently running our project, which is okay because we are installing some packages right now. So one thing we want to do is we want to do npx Shadcn UI latest add button. Perfect. And then it's going to like ask us if we want to download it, and then perfect. So we're good. So the buttons has been added to our components folder. So you see where it says components UI button.tsx. So this component was built by Shadcn UI, and it's entirely free for us to use. So that's awesome. We're going to go ahead and we're actually going to install another component right away, just so that we can, move on a little bit faster later on. So the next one that we're going to want to download is into our project is the sheet. So this one here. So it has this effect, and it's nice to use, or we use it here in our project, where if once we go to small screen, that effect right there, and that's how it's going to be handled. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to Shadcn UI, and I'm going to add this command as well. So npm, and then cool. Okay, awesome. So we have both the components that we need to build out the rest of the navbar. So let's go ahead and let's do that now. So back into our action buttons, we can go ahead and we can say, oh, nope, action buttons, yep. We can go back and we can say, first things first is we want to import our buttons. So we want to say import button from, and then at components UI/button. So that's the correct like file route. So the way that we can really like confirm that, if you ever kind of confused on how this works or kind of want to know like an easier way of figuring it out. So when you click onto a file, it will tell you where something is found. So it will say components. You can think of that as like one, and then you're gonna slash, and UI, and then slash button. So if we go back to our action buttons, we are importing, so our components are found here at the root of our folder. So everything starts with an at. So we should get that out the way first. Everything starts with an at. So typically speaking, you can do like, if you wanted to import an image, you can go ahead and you can say at slash public slash images slash logo svg, or logo one, yeah, dot svg. But yeah, so that's how that works if you've ever been confused or kind of wanted to know an easier way of doing it or why it looks like this as well. So then the next thing we want to do is we actually want to go ahead and we want to go back to Shadcn UI and we want to import the sheet directly from here. So I'm going to take that again, just copied it to your command line, and then you want to just Control V right here. So this is going to import all of the different things that we need from the component, and then we can actually use them directly in our file here. So same thing, at components UI sheet. The reason why is because it is in the sheet file over here. One thing that we can actually remove right away is we don't need the class name here. We can actually just remove that, and then we can also remove it from here as well. So I had this error when I was building the project a bit earlier. I'm not sure what like it stems from, but just you can remove those. We won't really need them, and your project is going to be okay anyway. So awesome. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to install another package called React Icons. This is where we're going to be able to get some icons from for free. So I'm going to go and show you what that looks like. So the command line I used was npm I react icons. If you're not familiar with it, it is this one right here, and it is essentially where all of the icons are held when you use React. So yeah, so the one that we're going to want to be using is Lucid. We can go ahead and I can kind of show you what that looks like later. Actually, we can do that right now. So the one that we want to install right away is I want to import a component from our package. So we're going to be import align justify from Lucid React. So this package is automatically installed once you use npm I react icons. So if you have this, you should be good to go. The next thing you want to do is you want to import the link. So import link from next link, and then perfect. So this is going to be all the stuff that we're going to need to build out the rest of this component. And let's go ahead and let's do that now. So let's do another div inside of this. We can go ahead and we can add a class name. We can say add class name. We can do MD hidden. The reason why we're doing that is we're saying we do not want to show this like this sidebar here. So this sidebar, like once we get to a bigger screen, we don't want to show like the menu or the align justify. Do you guys get what I'm trying to say there? Once it gets to a certain point, we want to break out of it, the design. So yeah, so let's go ahead and let's actually run our project so we know what's going on at the same time. So we're going to do npm run dev, and then it's going to reload our project back onto localhost 3000. Okay, cool. So you can see that when we get to a certain size, it is going to be hidden. So let's go ahead and let's continue. And then we're going to start using the sheet right here. So we can say sheet, we can say sheet trigger. We can go ahead and we can import the align justify, and then we can go ahead and just close it right away. And then we can go ahead and we can say sheet content underneath our sheet trigger. So right here we can do sheet content. So it's going to be this. And then we're going to do sheet header. And then we are going to do sheet description. And then we are going to close it right away. And then we are going to do div. And then we are going to create a class name called flex call space y4. And then we are going to do item start. We're going to do width full. We're going to do text LG. We're going to do text black. We're going to do MT10. and then we are going to start using the link component. So let's go ahead and let's do link, and then we can do href. So I currently don't want it to point anywhere as of right now because I don't have any content there. So I can go ahead and I can just close it, and I can just say I don't want an a tag. I want a I just want to say sign in, for example, sign in, and then I can go ahead and I can just close that. So I'll show you what this looks like as of right now. If we're able to see it, so you can see that we have this sort of effect coming in right away, which is nice. And that took like 2 seconds to build, really. Like that's so awesome and so fast, so that's fantastic. Then we can go ahead and we can essentially just copy and paste the link to the link many times over, as many times as you want, as many pages as you want in your navbar, and then we can go ahead and we can just edit what we want this to be saying. So we can do sign in, we can do a get started. Cool, get started. We'll have maybe like a pricing one. What else do we got there? We got features, potentially. Features. Sorry about that. Features, and then we can do contact page maybe, and then we can maybe do, let's do one more, and we'll do the about. So let's just delete these ones because we don't need it. Maybe you guys do, but for this project we don't. This is all the stuff that we have. So perfect, that's that. And then underneath the sheet, we can go ahead and we can close this div here. So actually, we can open up a new div, sorry, I should say. And then we should say div, we'll do class name, we'll do hidden, we'll do md flex, and then we'll do md space x4. Cool, and then now we want to go ahead and we want to use the Shadcn UI button component. So we can go ahead and we can say button, and then we can say class name. We can also apply some of our own like filters to it. So we can say class, we want the text to be like a medium size. We can make the variant a ghost, and then we can also assign like some text to the button. So this is what it's going to look like. And then we can go ahead and we can create another button, and then we can also add in text MD. But for this one, I also want to have a blue background. So we'll do blue 500, and then we can do close that, and then we can just put get started. Cool, so that's what it looks like as of right now. Let's go ahead and see. Let's go ahead and see what we got here. So it's currently not displaying. One thing that we can do to check why that is we can, I'd like to, this should be referring to this here. So I'm going to close this div, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create another div here. Nope. Go ahead and to div. Give me 1 second here. So we got the div up top. We got our first div here. Okay. So these divs should be connecting. Okay, they are. Perfect. And then the div down below, we can remove this one, and then I believe we can remove this one as well. That should make the errors go away. Cool. So we're back here. All right, fantastic. Yeah, so that was what the error was there. Essentially, what was happening was I didn't have the div in the right place. So when we're in a small screen, we're going to have our menu, and then it's going to appear nicely on the right with like a super silky animation. And then when we go to our larger screens, the menu is going to go away, and we're going to have two buttons that people can click on. So perfect. So that looks like what we got here. Yeah, exactly what we have here. So awesome. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's continue building the project. The next thing we want to build out is we want to build out the like the navigation menu here. So let's go ahead and let's do that. One other component that we're going to need from Shadcn UI is going to be this navigation menu here. So you see how this component works. If you hover over get started or components, you can also click on them and it will look like that. So let's go ahead and let's add the command, or we can add the component here for this command line. So let's go back into our terminal. Let's click plus sign. Let's close the first one out. Oh, I did both by accident. That's okay. We can go back to the top. Up here, click New Terminal. Again, your project's going to shut down, and that's what it's supposed to do. So let's go ahead and let's add the command line here. So npx Shadcn UI at latest add navigation menu. Let's click enter, and then it's going to add the component. Cool, so we got the component here, navigation menu, looks like this, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to use it in our navigation bar. So let's rerun our project, so npm run dev. And let's reload it here as well. So I'm going to close the logo ipsum one and the React icons, we just don't need it right now. And then, yeah, let's keep these open, so cool. We're back to where we were, which is awesome. And let's go ahead and let's actually start building this component out right now. Give me one sec. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to create, we want to make this one a use client. It will help us with what we need later on. So then we want to import like star as React from React, or import all as React from React, which is good. Then we want to import link from next link, which is what we had previously as well. And then we want to import cn from @libs/utils. That's going to be important for us later on. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to just copy and paste this here from Shadcn UI. It's going to refer to all the content that we need later, to build out this component. As well as let's do import logo from logo, and then we can also do another one, which is const components. Components. That's what each component is going to have a title, which is a string. Oh, I can't spell right now. Title, string, and then we can also do a description as well. So the reason what we're doing here is we're just pre-configuring the data, determining what we're allowing it to accept, which is just going to be text. So const components, this is perfect. Let's make this nicer a little bit. We'll do equals, and then open up another array, and then in here is where we want to create our content. So I'm immediately getting prompted with some other stuff, but I've already gone ahead and I had data previously, so I'm just going to copy and paste it into here, and then you can go ahead and you can add in your own titles, descriptions. Just make sure that whatever you have inside this array is what you have here is as a parameter. So yeah, so you can do frozen description. Doesn't necessarily really matter, but you can go ahead and you can use mine. You can change it to be whatever you want. It's fine. Then the next thing we'll want to do is I want to create a function. Actually, I'll do that one at the end there. But we want to do we can do const navigation bar, and then let's go ahead and let's actually create what we need here. So let's do navigation menu. Then we can go, oh, I didn't mean to do that. We can do navigation menu. Then we can do, okay, there, we got the pre-fill to work. Then we can do navigation menu list. And then we can do class name. We're gonna do hidden, and then MD flex. So what we're doing here is we're saying that when it's a small screen, we want to hide the navigation bar, or else it would look too jam-packed, and we don't really want to have that. So then we want to do navigation item, menu item. So navigate, not indicator, menu item, and then we want to click navigation menu trigger, navigation menu trigger, and then we're going to go and we're going to say get started. You can again change it to be whatever you want, but I just like get started because I think it just makes sense for what we want to do. So you can kind of see it coming to life right away, and it's this get started button here. Cool, so that's the navigation menu get started. That's the trigger, and then underneath the trigger we can do our actual content. So we'll say navigation menu content, and then we can close that, and then we can get so this is where we're going to want to have the UL. So we'll do UL class name, we're going to do grid, we're going to do gap 3, P6, we're going to do MD, W400, oh, we need to have brackets on this one, 400 pixels, LG, grid calls. And so one thing that, like, if you don't want to type all this out, it's actually all here ready for you to use inside of Shadcn UI. So you can go ahead and you can just click code, and then you can see what I'm actually doing here if you want to have it to be exactly as that. So instead of like me doing it here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna use it instead because it's just a lot faster. So I'm gonna go down to navigation menu where I got to, where the content is, navigation menu content, and I'm going to copy and paste that into my own project. So navigation menu content, let me just delete that, and then we're gonna have list items. Actually, one thing that we can do instead is we can actually just copy and paste this entire function. So let's go all the way down to the bottom, and then let's go ahead and let's just do this. Cool. So instead of navigation menu demo, we can go ahead and we can just rename the function to navigation menu, but we can't because it's the same. So we can say menu bar, and then that will work. So the errors that we're getting in the project right now are we're getting icons.logo. So we don't necessarily need an icons.logo, but we have our own. So we can do logo, the one that we've already imported from previously above. And then we can go ahead and we can remove the class name. We don't need a class name. There already is properties styled to the project, and then you can change all the content here as well. So you won't be able to see it right now because we have some errors, but we can go ahead and we can remove some of the stuff. So one thing that we did is we removed the href from any time that you click on something. You can go ahead and you can remove it from your list item, and then from here as well you can remove the class name. So perfect. So let's go ahead and let's close this navigation menu link, and then cool. Let's go into so another thing that we did was when we changed it, when you're like exporting a function like this, export function menu bar, and you're doing it all in one line here, you have to surround this by brackets. So you do bracket, and then you can do this as well, and then it will like you have to like keep the, so it was navigation menu bar is what we renamed the function to. So that will now work, and then we can have to import the function here. So cool. So all of the things that we've done should be okay now. You can see what it looks like. I'm going to go back to full screen here, and I'm actually going to go ahead, I'm going to make the navbar a bit bigger because it is way too small right now. So let's go to our navbar, and let's go to like H40 for example, and you can see how it's like spaced out nicely now. Awesome. So let's go back into our navigation menu, and let's go ahead and let's change this content. So the logo, for example, that's okay. Another thing that I want to change is I don't want this to say Shadcn UI. I want this to refer to the software, so or the product or the startup or anything. And then I want to have a little description here called e-commerce platform for selling digital projects. That's cool too. And then we can go ahead and we can remove these hrefs here because they don't actually exist. So let's remove that, let's remove that, let's remove that, and we can also change the name. So introduction, we don't have an installation for our product, and then we can go ahead and we can change this to community as well. So then what we want to do is we can maybe do like a little join the community. You can really add any text you'd like. It doesn't necessarily matter for what I have right here. And get help or support. So we can do another thing where it's maybe like how to build a store in 60 seconds, maybe with Bird. I like that one. And then introduction, we can do learn about the basics of Bird. Sure, that works for me. And then we're gonna see all of those changes here. I just think that is a lot smoother. than the previous way that we were doing it, where we were just kind of like manually typing in all the styling. It just didn't make a lot of sense. Another thing I want to change really quickly is I don't like how small this font is here. It's just too small for me. So I want to go ahead and I want to change that. So the best way of doing it is we can go ahead into our navigation menu trigger. You can go ahead and you can click, I'm on Mac, so Command, and I'm going to click onto menu trigger. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find where it says the text. So in here it says text SM. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change that to be maybe LG. And I'm going to see what that looks like. So you see how much bigger everything just got, which I think is, it's just better. You can do maybe MD if it's too big. I'm not really sure what I put in my project, but I believe it was MD or LG. I'm actually going to quickly check. Give me just one sec. I believe it was, yeah, okay, so it was MD that in the project. So let's stick with MD for now. But yeah, that's pretty much what is going on now. So if you click on something, it's not going to work because it doesn't go anywhere. But that's okay because we don't really have any other content to really show for right now. So let's continue from there. We've actually just we've gone ahead and we built out the navbar. Let's see if it works with the styling. Okay, so we're still getting the error where it's not being hidden. Let's go ahead and let's figure that out as to why. So let's go back to our navigation bar and let's figure it out. So one thing that I want to add, one thing that we can add right away is we can just add in more pages. So in our project we have more. We also have another one called. So we have templates. So we have another one called pricing. Yeah. So let's add in pricing. Let's go back to what we have currently. I also want to rename components to something else. We don't have any components. We have templates, and that works for me. Documentation, and then let's go ahead and so let's copy and paste this navigation menu item, and then let's go ahead and we can add in more stuff. So instead of, again, we're not pointing to docs like that. That just doesn't exist. So we can go ahead, we can do that, and then we can do pricing, for example. Awesome. Now the next thing that we want to do is we want to actually go ahead and create a function that when we click on this button, it's going to take us to that specific page. But we don't have that page right now, so we don't necessarily need to worry about it. So we can sort of leave things as is right now. And let's go ahead and let's just remove this. Now, let's just remove the last thing that we duplicated because it's not necessarily required until a bit later on when we actually build up that component. Cool. So as of everything, that's kind of it for now. I'm curious to see as to why the do I have something wrong here with my getting started? The menu, let's go back to, okay, so let's go back to our menu list here and let's add a class name called hidden md flex md space x 4. So now this should, if I'm not mistaken, this should, there we go. Okay, yeah, so that's what it was. So when we copied and pasted the code from Shadcn UI, one style that they didn't have or that we had to add in manually was that we wanted to hide when it is on a smaller screen. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's perfect. That's exactly what we have here with the previous project. Appears here, and then here it does not. So that's awesome. So let's go back to this and let's continue building. Let's go ahead and continue building from where we left off. We completed our navbar here. One thing that I've added is I actually went ahead and I copied this navigation menu and I pasted it down here and I just called it a pricing. So that way we have a pricing tab and yeah, that's exactly where we left off at. So one thing is you can also just change the font to be medium so it's a little bit more kind of bolded. So that's the difference when it looks like. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's continue working from here. One thing that we should go on to build on now is our hero section. So our hero section is this component here. has, again, just immediate text of what it is, as well as a video here. So I'm going to show you how we can build that component now. So let's go ahead into our app folder and let's create a new folder called first-section, and then let's go and let's create a page.tsx. So same thing as last time, you can go sfc, and then you can go first section. Cool, tab, div, and then we can say first section. Awesome, so now let's go ahead and let's actually import that into our main page.tsx so that we can actually see what it looks like. So underneath our navbar, let's go ahead and create our first section, or let's import it, I should say. And then, awesome, so let's go back into our actual file, and then yeah, you're able to see what it looks like here. Awesome, so that's what it looks like, and let's go ahead and let's build it out. First thing we want to do is we're going to click into our file, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to change this div to be a section instead. It's a little bit makes it a little bit more clear of what's going on, where we are working in, and that sort of stuff. So let's go ahead and let's do class name. We're going to do md py20. We're going to do py10. We're going to do bg gradient 2. We're going to do 2r. We're going to do from gray 00 to gray 200 space y 10. So let's go ahead and let's do that, and then we can go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this just a bit smaller so we can see what is going on. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say another div inside, and then we're going to have class name. We're going to do container. We're going to do mx auto. We're going to do text center. And then inside of that one, we're going to create another div, and then we're going to go and we're going to add a class name. So class name text 6xl flex justify center. And we're going to do md. Actually, we don't need to do that one. Then we can do font bold. We can do md px20 pb10, and then we can go ahead and we can create our gradient. So let's do text gradient. Let's do bg2r from blue 500 to let's do not this. Let's do green. Do green 300. We'll do bg clip text, and then we can do text transparent. Cool. So let's go ahead and let's actually put the text that we want to have there now. So inside of here, let's do build a brand and start selling in seconds. Cool. So you can kind of begin to see the text appear here, and this is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and let's just remove the first section underneath. We don't need it, but yeah, this looks pretty good. So let's keep that there, and then let's continue building from here. So underneath this build a brand, underneath this div, we want to go ahead and we want to create a p tag. So we can do p class name, we can do text lg md text xl, and then we're going to do at margin bottom 10, and then we're going to do another gradient here, but it's going to be a different text, so or 4 different texts. So inside of this component here, I want to go ahead and I want to do bg gradient to r. I want to do from black to gray 400 or 300, 400, whatever works. I want to do bg. I want to clip the text to the text, or clip the background to the text, and then I want to do text transparent, and then I also want to make this font bold. Then what else I want to add? I also want to add some text underneath this one, so we should do something like this. So we can close this one here, and we can say, no matter what you sell, Bird Software has something. So that is good. Why is it not appearing here? Background gradient from R to, let's just refresh. Okay, yeah, so I just have to refresh there. But yeah, so that looks good to me. And then let's go ahead and let's add some buttons underneath. So underneath this p tag, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a div tag. It's going to be called div class name. We're going to do flex gap 4. We're going to do, not fab4, gap4, and then we'll do do justify center, and then we can go ahead and we can put a button tag. So we can say button class name, then we can use bg blue 500 text white. We can actually I can just finish out with this here. So that's what it looks like, and then I want to actually go ahead and I want to create another button here. So inside there, and then I want this one to also be a button, but I want it to be a link. So I want it to go link. Actually, we can just make it another button. Why not? Let's just do 2 buttons. Do button class name, and then I'll do bg gray 600, and then hopefully I get the autofill here. If not, it's fine. We can do text white, and then just yeah, learn more works for me. Cool. And then so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do PT10, so to make it a little bit pushed away from what it looks like there. And I don't know if I like or hate the boldness on it. Whatever, let's just keep it, looks good. So that's good, and then we can go ahead and we can, now we can add in our video. So let's finish that there. So underneath here, let's go ahead and let's create a video tag. So video, then we can just close the tag like this, and we can say class name. I want the video to have rounded corners, so I'm gonna do rounded XL, and then I'm also gonna apply some properties here. So I'm gonna do autoplay. We're going to have no sound, and it's just going to continuously loop while it goes. So then we're going to have to point it to something. So we're going to do source, so src video mp4 type mp4. So that video is obviously not going to appear because we have not built that out. Like, that doesn't exist anywhere. So let's go ahead and let's actually build that out now. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to head to a website called pexels.com. They have free stock videos for you to take, and you can use in your own project. So in this one, let's filter to videos, and then we can filter to e-commerce, and then you can go ahead and you can download any of these ones here. So once you download it, in this example, I already have them downloaded, so I'm not going to do it now. But the ones that I had were pretty much e-commerce or like business, anything that looks good really. You can kind of just download it and then have it like be used on as a content for your project. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I'm gonna go to this point here. So inside of my public folder, I want to go ahead and I want to create a new folder called content, and then this is where I'm going to have all my images stored. And then inside of my images, I'm going to drag and drop one that I previously had here. So I'm going to go this, and then I'm going to go cancel, and then that's perfect. So I'm going to go back to my first section, and then instead of pointing to video.mp4, I want it to point to this one here. So we're going to go in, so content, and then I'm going to do hero, hero -1 mp4, and then I should have it be displayed inside of my project here. So let's see what that looks like. Awesome. So I have my video here, the same one that I have inside of this video here as well. Fantastic. So another thing I want to do is I want to put this inside of a div. Actually, one thing I can just do is I can just do pt10, and then see, that's where I get an issue. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create another div, and then I'm going to just put that div inside of this right here. So I'm going to do div class name, and I'm going to do pt10 here, and I'm just going to close the div like this. So now I should have rounded corners in my entire project, and it should look good. So that's awesome. Yeah, so that is essentially the entire first section there. We were able to build that out super quickly. Of course, our navbar still works. We have our logo. Yeah, this is coming together really nicely. So let's go ahead and let's continue building out our second section. So let me just kind of remind you what that looks like. And actually, it's not our second section. It is actually our carousel. So that's going to be a fun one. Let's go ahead and let's do that. In our components folder, what we should do is we should go into our, not into our UI, but into our components one. Make sure you're hovering over it. Right click, click new file, and then call it carousel.tsx. this is going to refer to our carousel component. So this one's going to have our animation. You can see here where one logo gets enlarged every couple seconds. So starting with this one, and then it's going to rotate to this one, and then so on and so forth. And I think that kind of effect makes it really cool. And yeah, it kind of makes the web page stand out a bit. And then when you go into a smaller size, the images kind of go into a grid view. So let's go ahead and let's build this out right now. Awesome. So let's go and let's do, so we're going to do use client at the top, and then we're going to be using import. It's going to be React. We're going to be using React here. We're going to do use state, and then we're going to do use effect from React. Then we're going to do, we actually have to install a package called framer motion. So let's go ahead and shut down our terminal again. So again, plus sign, close the other one, and do npm I framer motion. So framer motion is this, it's pretty much the biggest animation, like web supported package that you can use in React. Let's go ahead and just see how many downloads they get a week. Yeah, so they're getting 2.4 million downloads like a week. So you can trust that these guys are pretty awesome what they do. And yeah, pretty much everyone uses them. So let's go ahead and let's rerun our project. So npm run dev, and then we can actually begin to use framer motion in our project. So let's go ahead and let's go back to this and let's continue. So let's do import motion. We're going to do animate presence from framer motion, and then we're going to import our images. So import image from next image. And then here is where we're going to go ahead and kind of similar to what we created in our, like where we have our navbar into this component, where we have this type of like rendering in an array. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do something similar with just these images. So let's go ahead and let's do that now. Let's go back to carousel, and we're going to do const images. You can do const logos, whatever makes sense for you. It doesn't necessarily matter. You're just going to have a different naming convention. So what I want to do is I want to do URL, and then I want to do slash images slash logo slash logo1 svg, and then I want to do alt logo, and then I want to essentially call that. I'm going to call this image in a function, and then it's going to loop through, and then it's going to display as this as well. So that's how that's going to work there. So I've actually gone ahead and I have already like imported all of my images into my project here. You guys can go ahead and look in the GitHub repository, and you can use the same images I have. But essentially all I did to save time here is I just went to logoipsum.com and I just downloaded all of these and I put them into the folder. And so I can show you what that's going to look like here with this. Give me 1 sec. So I'm going to go ahead into this logo. I'm going to just delete it right now, move to trash, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to import the previous one I had. So images, and then from there I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to essentially route all of my images to this right here. So all I've done there is I just downloaded all of these images. You can't see them because they're SVG files, but essentially I put them all from my computer into a folder called logos, and then I'm going to be working inside of my carousel, and I'm just saying slash images slash logo slash the name of the file or the image. So that's that, and then I'm going to go ahead and I hope that makes sense there, but I'm going to continue working from here. So I'm going to do SFC, oh not that, I'm going to do SFC, and I'm going to do carousel, and then I'm going to do div, and then I'm going to do, this is where I'm going to have my use effects come into the hook here. So I'm going to do const, I'm going to do current image, I'm going to do current image index, because I want to know what like the index is, and then I'm going to initially set it to 0, and then I'm going to say use effect, and then I'm going to say const interval equals set interval, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to say, I'm going to have an arrow function here, and then I'm going to say set current image index, set current image index. I'm going to say it is going to have the previous index, so prev index, and then I'm going to say another arrow function here. I'm going to say previous index is equal to images.length minus 1 question mark 0 previous index plus 1. Yeah, so that's actually correct there. And then I'm going to set the interval. So I also have an return, and then in this one I'm going to clear, and then I'm going to close everything there. So that is the entire function right there, and that's going to be the one that we're going to use for our actually animating the images. So I'm getting a small error here with my naming convention. Is it? Oh, it's this. I don't have that. It shouldn't be that. It should be like this. So all I did there is I had a question mark instead of an actual arrow there. So that's okay, and we're gonna go and continue. So now inside of the return, I want to create. I want to go ahead. I want to create a div, and I'm going to say a class name. I'm going to say item center. I'm going to say justify center. I'm going to say flex. I'm going to do text 3XL, font bold, MD, padding bottom 10, and I'm going to do PX 10 as well. And then I'm going to do BG gradient 2R, and then I want to say from purple 800 to green 300. I want to clip the text, the background to the text, and then I want to say more than 100, no, not 100,000, 100 plus brands have built their, yeah, it could really be anything. Have built their business with Bird. Okay, yeah, you can put any text you want there. This text will reflect. Here I'll kind of show you what we're looking to build. Essentially that's this component here. You can go ahead and you can change it to be whatever you want. Something maybe more oriented to your business, or if you want to use that, that's fine too. Maybe not the Bird software part, because that'll be my own personal brand, but I mean, hey, if you guys want to use it. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and build out the rest of the actual animation now. So let's do that now. So we're going to do another div underneath. We're going to say div, and then we're going to say class name. We're going to say grid calls 3 p4 md flex, and then we're going to say animate presence. So that's the one that we imported from Framer Motion up here. Animate presence, make sure you have that imported correctly. Then I'm going to say custom, and I'm going to say current image index. So that's the function that we created here, or the state is right here, current image index. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to close it. I'm going to say images. So I'm going to map through all the images, and I'm going to grab the index as well. Like I'm mapping through the images and the indexes, and I'm saying motion.div. So this is something that's specific to Framer Motion, and I'm going to say key equals index, and then I'm going to say initial, and then I'm going to say opacity is equal to 0, and then I'm going to apply my animation properties here. So animate, and then I'm going to say opacity like when it is active. So I'm going to say opacity index equals, and then I'm going to set it to 1. So the reason why I didn't want to set it, you can set it to 0, but the thing is like I don't want the logos to appear like they're not on the screen originally. Like I want them to be visible all throughout. I just want to scale them essentially. So I mean, technically you could really just leave this out, but I left it in. So I'm going to do scale, and then I'm going to do you can do 1.2, and then you can have 1, and then I'm going to do transition, and then I'm going to just say how long the transition is going to last for there. Then underneath this one, I'm going to display the actual image of the, so don't make sure to close the motion div like this, and then image, and then I'm going to set the images. So the source will be the alt, and then the width will be, well, I'm going to change these to 200 here. But yeah, so let's go ahead and see what this looks like. Not able to see any of this right now because we have not imported it to the main page, but that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to add another, I'm going to change this to 200 because I just think those will be way too small. And then I'm going to add a class name back to this image. So class name, I'm going to say object contain h20 width 20. I don't want the logos to, because they all have different sizes, right? Like I don't want them to just like go off the screen and stuff like that. So I'm going to make them fit, and then I'm going to do flex, and then MX auto as well. So that is that, and then I want to close out the rest of these functions. So let's go ahead and let's see what this looks like. So we built out our carousel component. We have the text, we have the gradient, and now I want to go ahead and I want to import that to our page.tsx. So I'm going to have carousel, and then I'm going to close it. So inside of localhost 3000, let's go ahead and refresh. Let's see if we were able to get what we're looking for. Cool. So looks like we did. Looks like these images are huge. Okay, we do have the animation, we have the effect going, which is awesome. That's what we needed there. And then let's continue building out. Let's go ahead and let's build out why this is not in the center. So it looks like to me the text is in the center, just the images are not, which is kind of interesting. Let's see why that is. Underneath motion.div, I want to go ahead and, okay, so I think I've kind of figured out where this might be. So underneath this like motion.div, we've not actually set it to this like anywhere. We haven't set it to the middle. So if we do item center, and then we do, and then we do justify center, and then I do h40, and I do width 40. Now, okay, we're getting towards the middle here. Okay, that looks good to me. Looks like the thing's going like nice every half second. It's switching. Should go on to this one here. Yeah, so I like how it's scaling. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, one of the things we can also just remove the. I mean, you could. So I'll show you what the difference would be like if you had it. So if you had it, for example, like this, you see how like the one that pops up, or the ones that are not popped up, have like a 0.5 visibility. It doesn't necessarily look bad. I just personally, I don't necessarily like it. Maybe 0.8, I think, to really accentuate the popping. But I mean, it's really up to you what you want to do there. So yeah, I mean, that's awesome. We'll also continue building out the other properties. So we'll do exit opacity 0. This should not have 2 brackets, it should only have 1. And then we can go and we can say, oh, this should actually have 2 brackets. Go back, change it to that. And then we'll do custom, I'll do index, the transition, and then we can say, not this, we want opacity, not duration. So opacity, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this. Duration 0.2, and then I'm going to close it with this here. And then I can change this to 0.5 as well. So, okay, yeah, so that is the entire framer motion carousel component built out relatively quickly. And if we go into a smaller view, this is what it looks like, and then the animation continues to go all throughout time, so that's good. Let's continue building out now I believe it is the second section. Yeah, so we can build out this component relatively easily as well, so let's do that now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into this, and then I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to call it second section, and then I'm going to call it page.tsx, and then same thing as last time, sfc, and then second section, and then div, and I'm going to say hi. So immediately what we can do is we can go into our page.tsx, and then underneath our carousel we can import our second section, and voila, we should be able to see a hi, and we are down here, teeny tiny hi there, but I promise you it will look good in just a short few minutes here. So let's go ahead and let's start building out the rest of this component. Let's go click into our second section, and then we can do right away at the top, we can do use client, and then we can say import React from React. Then we can say we're going to need our images as well, so import image from Next/image, and then we're going to again sort of like use the same idea with like having content or images displayed like in a carousel from here, but instead of that we'll have like features, for example. So I can kind of show you what that'll look like. So these features are in here. We'll have like a similar idea where we're gonna like configure them in an array, and then we're gonna render that array. So let's do that second section. I'm gonna do const. We'll just call it features, and then I'm gonna have my array, and then I'm going to do a bracket or a curly bracket, and then I'm gonna have a name one. I'm going to call it feature one. You can call it description one, call it image, and this will point to a certain image, and then I'm going to have an alt text. So the alt text is required by Nextjs to have one, and so if you see what this little, essentially what is going on here is it's saying it expected a comma, and so what that means is you can't put, it has to be before this alt text. Since you're rendering a list, you have to have a comma, and so typically it would be placed there. All right, so then I've actually gone ahead and I have like pre-configured data here set out so that we don't waste too much time. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and you want to check out the repository and copy and paste all the same code I have, feel free, more than free to be able to do so. You can also change this to be whatever you want. If you have your own features, yeah, it's just all like template code, right? So you can change anything you'd like. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and build out the rest of this component. So this one won't take too much time, but there are a few classes. So I'm going to do div, I'm going to remove the hi, and then I'm going to go back and create another div. Class name, I'm going to do md flex row. I'm going to do, and then give me 1 sec, I'm going to do flex row, I'm going to do flex call, I'm going to do item center, do flex, I'm going to do justify center, and I'm going to do padding bottom /10, and then that's good for that div. Then I'm going to create another div. I'm going to do class name. I'm going to do padding 5, justify center, and then I'm going to do md width 1/3. So width 1/3. So I only want it to take up 1/3 of the screen. So yeah, that's good. And then you can see how it resizes nicely. Okay, so then the next thing I want to do is I want to create another div inside this one, and this is going to be for the text. So that way the text is going to have this like gradient style look to it. So let's do that. So inside this div here, I'm going to create a class name. I'm going to call it, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say bg gradient 2r from blue. Kind of like, typically speaking, when you're looking at gradients, the darker they are on the left, the more like it accentuates larger when the color on the right is not only opposite, but it's very light. So I'm going to do 2 green 300. You can really put whatever you want. It doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't have to be the same one as mine. But you can, of course, just kind of like play around with it and see what you like. So I'm going to do text 3XL. Actually, I'm going to do 4XL. And then on MD, I'm going to make it text 6XL. And then I'm going to have font bold. And I have a padding bottom of 10 as well. So let's actually go ahead and put the text in now. So from startup, sorry about that, from startup to enterprise, Bird is built for every type of business. Cool, yeah. So that's GitHub Copilot autofill there, just kind of giving me some text there. You can go ahead and you can put whatever you want. I think the more short and sweet it is, the better. But if you want, you can make it really big. It'll work the same. So cool. Then underneath this div, I want to go ahead and I want to create another div, and I want to say I want to refer to this kind of talking point here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say class name, and then I'm going to say text to Excel, and then I'm going to say MD. Nope, we're just going to do margin bottom, and then 8. And then I'm going to say, we can just copy and paste this here. So built for all businesses and communities. Bird is the only platform you need to grow your business. Okay, cool, that's a good one. And then underneath here, I'm gonna have my button. So I'm gonna just have the button syntax, and then I'm gonna say class name, BG blue 500 text, white, padding -4, justify, center flex, MD width 1/3, and then I'm gonna have rounded -LG, and then I'm gonna have a hover effect on the button. It's blue, and then I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. So, and then inside the button, I'm gonna have a get started text. So again, feel free to change all this text yourself, the code itself, whatever you'd like. Feel free. So we'll go into this. So this is what it looks like now, and this is good. So the one thing that we're gonna be waiting for is the video here, and we're gonna render that now to the right. So get started, and then underneath the button, I want to go ahead and I want to add the video. So go to video, close the video tag, class name, rounded, XL. We can do MD width should be 2/5 for medium screens or larger. P-4, and then P-4, and then I'm going to do MD P-0 because I don't want any padding. Then outside of the class name, I want to go ahead and I want to put autoplay, same as we did for the previous video, and then I wanted to have a loop effect. Then I want to do a source, so source tag, that one is self-closing, source tag, and then I have my content. So you can have your content be the same one that you rendered here, but I personally want to have a different video there. So again, same thing, go to pexels.com. Check out any one that you want, download it, and then when you name it, make sure that it's pointed like correctly, so you kind of know what you're working with. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add the second video I have. I believe it was something like this one, yeah. So inside this one, or inside my content, I have this video called video 2, so I'm gonna refer to that one instead. So video 2. And then I'm gonna go into what my project looks like, and then I'm gonna continue building. Okay, cool, so we got the video. It's just really small right now, which is okay. I'm gonna keep working on it. So next thing we wanna add here is I want to do something where the image is here. Am I in the right section right now? Okay, so the video section is there. Just making sure I didn't skip too far ahead. Okay, cool. The next thing I want to add here, MD flex row, flex call item center flex. Just get a little confused on why this is not working here correctly. Let's do that. This shouldn't be flex call. This should just be P5. Essentially, this is supposed to be rendering out differently, but it's obviously not. P5. Give me 1 second here to figure this out. So essentially what the error was I was closing my div tag a little too prematurely, and so I had it down here, but it's supposed to be underneath the button. So originally I had something like this, and this is going to give me the same issue I was having where everything looks like that. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to remove this here and then put it underneath the button as well. So just like that, and then it will work as expected. So you'll have your carousel logos here, as well as underneath you'll have your section. So that brings us to the stage underneath. Let me close we will actually be needing more videos. I'm gonna go ahead and give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull open the reference point. That will be this one. Cool. So this is what we're currently working with. So the next portion underneath is going to be the product features, and we can build those now. Let's go ahead and do that. And again, we've already pre-configured the array here, so this won't take up too much time. Let's go ahead and give me 1 sec. I'm going to open this file. Okay. Now, underneath our video, we're going to want to go ahead and implement another div. So underneath this video div, create a new div, and then do class name, and then say flex call item center, justify center, and then we can add another div underneath, and we can say class name text, class name text 3XL. We can also say we're gonna need more stuff here, so I'll do flex, I'll do justify center again, I'll do MD text 5XO, font needs to be on a new line, font bold, PT 5, padding top 5, padding bottom 10, BG gradient to the right from the starting color will be purple 800. No, not 800. We'll do 400 here, and then we'll go to blue 800. That will give us a kind of nice effect. And then we're gonna clip the background to the text, and then we're gonna make the text transparent. Cool. So then we're gonna go and say, you could say whatever product features, really whatever. I'm gonna call it product features though. Product features, cool. And then we're able to see what it looks like here. Let's go ahead and yeah, okay, we are. So we have product features down below here, which looks good. And then I'm gonna go ahead and continue building this out. So, and then underneath this div here where it closes, we're gonna open up another div, and we're gonna say class name grid calls 1, px4 md grid. We're gonna need md grid as well. Md grid calls 3 gap 4, and then md px 40. Cool. Now let's loop through all of our features. So again, I've gone ahead and kind of built those out here, and make sure that you have something similar, and then make sure whatever you're calling, maybe you're not calling it a name, maybe you're calling it like a title. Inside of here, you're going to be using title instead, but in this example, we're using features, so yeah, we'll stick with that. Then I don't need that there. I can go down. I can say div. I can say the key. Oh, this needs to be on a new line. Div key. It should be index, and then I'm going to say class name. I'm going to say flex call space y-6 padding bottom 10, and then I'm going to say a border, and then I will also say padding -8 rounded XL item center justify center width will be full. I want to have a hover effect, so hover scale 105 transform transition all, and then I also have a duration as well. So duration 500, and then I'm going to have ease in and out. So I'm going to make that so you can see the whole thing there. So this will be ease in out. Cool. Close that there, and then I'm going to also add another div here. And I'm going to do div class name. We'll do text gray 600 text 3XL, and then I'll also do font dash bold. Fantastic. Underneath, I'm going to do image from Nextjs. We already had that imported here, but if not, you can go ahead and do that now. And then underneath, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to render out my images. So the source is going to be feature.image. We need to have an alt tag, and then I'm also going to have a width and a height. So I will go ahead and I will change this to 300. And then underneath, I'm going to change the class name equal to object dash contain, and then I'm going to have height equal to 20, width 20, items center justify center flex mx auto. You don't need this one here, but we can do margin bottom /10. Cool. So it's saying I have incorrectly, like one of my divs is not closed, so let's close this div, the image tag, and then we can go ahead and we can actually add another couple divs here. So we'll do div. I'm gonna close this div as well. So I'm gonna do div class name. Again, don't worry about the error here. We'll address it at the end. I'm gonna go div class name, and then I can go another div actually inside of this div. This, and I'm going to close that div, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say this one will not have a class name, the one on top, but this one will. So I'll say div class name text 2xl pb4 bg gradient 2r, nope, 2r, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say from black to gray BG. That is correct. And then I'm going to actually, instead of saying BG gradient to the right, I'm going to go to the, you can do from the bottom to the top, like there's a number of different options you can have here. I'm trying to hope that one of them can render, but well, for this one, we'll go to the top. And then inside of this one here, I'm going to call my feature.name. So make sure that when you're doing it that this feature is coming from this component up top, which is called features, and then here I'm rendering the feature. So that's why it's featured. And then the dot name is you're appending whatever the value of this is here. So if you have something else like color, for example, you can go ahead and you can say blue, and then you can call your color. So you can take color, and then instead of calling my name, I want to call my color, it will call that color. But again, we don't have color, so we're just going to keep it with name. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to render out the description, because I feel like that'd be really important to know. So underneath this one here, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create another one. Give me a sec. I'm going to go div. I'm going to go div. I'm going to do class name, and then I'm going to do BG gradient to the right, and then I'm going to say from gray, like the starting color, from gray 800 to gray 500. This needs to be connected, so I'm going to say from gray 800 to, that should, give me a sec. Okay, so I was just waiting for this to load in here. That works. And then I'm going to do BG clip text, and then text transparent, and then I'm like text LG, and I'm like, okay, cool. So now I want to close that here, and then I want to have my feature dot description. So just like that, and then underneath this div here, I should have another div here that's closing it, and then I'm going to call my function. So should be something like, I'm gonna remove these divs here, and I'm going to have it should be div. It should be close my function div. I should have one more div after this one, yeah? Okay, cool. So this is the index is not defined. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's define it. Go ahead into my features.map. Yeah, so here I was not passing in my index. So make sure you pass in your index like this, and then you'll have your cards all set up, which look really good. So that part's really good now. Now we actually just need to go ahead and add some images. So same as last time, I've gone ahead and I pre-configured my images to go ahead and work with this. So I'm gonna quickly import those now. If you have your own images, just again make sure that you're pointing to the right file, and everything will be good from there. So let me go ahead and go to my images, and I'm gonna import a number of these actually. And again, these will all be found in the link below in my GitHub. So if you ever get confused, or if you want to use the same ones as I have, it's no problem. So I'm going to delete this again. I should not have two images folders. I just want these images themselves. All right. Images. Looks like looks like I already have the images in the folder. So okay, let's go ahead and replace it. Oh, this is bugged out. Oh, okay, cool. So I've got it with that. Let's see if these loaded in. Okay, and they have. Very nice, actually. All right, that's really good. I really like the gradient going from like the top to the bottom there. That's really nice. And then we also have this one where it's like left to right. So I think that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. Now let's go ahead and let's build out the next component. Let's go ahead and see what it is. Inside of that, so it's going to be a video, and then it's going to be a card with a little bit more description. So we can go ahead and we can do that now. Let's go ahead and let's call it our third section, I guess we could call it, unless we have that one. We do not, yeah, we can go ahead and we can call it our third section, so let's go do that. Okay, so we'll go into our app, create a new folder, call it third section, and then we can do page.tsx right there. Cool. All right, and then we can do sfc, third section, tab, div, hi, and then go into our page.tsx and then import our third section. Cool. All right, let's see if we got it going on here. Should be a hi, and there is another hi. Okay, perfect. Let's continue from there. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna build out the third section. So this is the point where we got up until we had a class name, div class name, and then it just said hi, and then you can kind of see it down here in the bottom. So let's go ahead and let's continue. So we're gonna go and say flex, we're gonna do p-10, we're gonna say flex call, md flex row, md justify evenly. Sorry about that. I'm gonna do div to class name, flex call, md flex row, do gap-6, md px-10, and then we're also going to say flex. And then inside of here, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add another component. So div class name, this one's going to say md width /2/3, and then on smaller screens, it's gonna be the full width. And then we're gonna have a video, and we're gonna say, oh, not here, class name rounded XL, and then we're gonna say autoplay muted, and then we're gonna loop. We're gonna have a source, so something to point to, and then we are going to say type video /mp4. So I actually don't have any of that content here right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a video that I found again on pixels. So let me add that now, and then you can go ahead and do the same. So that will go into here, and then that will be this one. So I want to refresh this again, and let's see what it says. Cool. So we got our video, and I want to continue building from here now. So once we get that, we want to close the div with this, and then I want to open another div inside, and I want to say div, and do class name, flex, call, border, p-4, rounded, XL, and I want to do width is 40%. So that should look something like this right here. And again, once we reference our other site, you'll see that it looks very similar. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to find the app, and this is what it looks like. So we are currently building out this page right here. Doesn't look the best on that side of the screen, but here looks good. Okay, cool. And then this is what it looks like in small, so that looks good. Let's go back and let's change to the other one, and then let's close this. So we can also remove the high right here. It's not needed as of right now. And okay, let's continue. So we're at the 2/5, and then we want to create another div inside of it, and I want to say div class name text for XL flex justify center, and then we'll do text center as well. Then I want to do MD text slash 6 not slash dash 6XL BG BG gradient to the right, and I'm going to do from yellow 300 to blue. I believe this one would be 300 as well, and then I want to do BG clip text, and then I also want to do text transparent. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like right now. There's no text right now, so let's add something. Let's say fully customizable e-commerce. So this is what it looks like right now. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, cool. One other thing I want to add is I want to make this a bit bold, so I'm going to go font bold, and now it should look a little bit, yeah, it looks nice like this. One thing I want to try is I want to see what it would look like if I did like to the top, for example. That one looks okay. What about B? I like this one a little bit more actually now, seeing it. So yeah, you can go ahead, you can kind of play around. You can do B, T, or R, or L, anything like that to kind of like have it go like the way you want. So we can leave it like that. I think it looks good. So let's continue from there. The next thing I want to do is I want to add outside this div where we closed it. I want to go ahead. I want to open another div, and I want to say class name, and I want to say MD PX-20. Do space Y6, and then I want to do flex call item center justify center, and then I'm going to be adding in the content from here as well. So I'm going to go back to that. We are currently working on this stage right here. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say I have it's entered in there, and now I want to go ahead and I want to add another div. So I'm going to div class name text LG to PT-10 flex row, and then actually we don't need flex row because flex and flex row are the same, so we can do gap/4, and then we can actually start rendering our images. So if we do an image, we want an SRC, so we can say feature 1 alt 50 height. We can close this, and then we can just close it like that. So this image is not imported anywhere, so we have to go to the very top here and we have to add it. So we're going to do import image from next image, and now we're going to kind of see what it looks like. So feature 1 doesn't exist because we don't have it pointing to anything. So I want to go ahead and I want to refer to this icon.store. Again, you can get all of these images in my GitHub repository, and you can go ahead and use them. So it is called icon. So inside, so it is pointing to my images folder. So it's not content, it's images, icon, and it was -store.png. And then let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's very blurry, and I know what the reason behind that is. So I want to remove this class name here actually, and I want this to be 70 as well. Okay, and yeah, that looks a lot better to me already. Yeah, okay, so we'll keep it like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add another div. So div class name flex, we'll do flex call. I'm going to say gap-2. So to provide a little bit of space in between, I want to say, so I believe I have content already existing on the website. So this one right here. So I can just go ahead and I can copy and paste this, and I can just enter that there, and then I will have that on my actual website too. So there we go. We got one right there. That's fantastic. And then let's continue building these out for the rest of them. So we can go ahead and we can say another one outside of this div. The second one here, we can say flex call, and we can say we can go, sorry, yeah, we can go right here. Div, we'll do class name flex call, and then we can do div. I'm gonna add in a, believe there's one more here. Yeah, so make sure we close the tags. Div class name, and then we can say text LG flex item center gap-5. Then again underneath there we can add in our image. So we can go image, we can go src, sorry for that again, alt width, and then the height will be the same. So let's go height, and let's close the tag right away. And cool, so let's see what we got. Icon cart, I don't believe we have, yeah, we do not have anything called icon cart. So let's go ahead and let's change that to icon product. Cool, and we got a little nice little picture there as well. So let's continue from there. We can go ahead and, similar as last time, right underneath, we can go and create a div, and we can add some text to it. So div class name, we can say track your products and orders with, we don't actually want this to be in our class name, sorry about that. We don't actually even need a class name here. We can just go and we can say, so what does it say? Add unlimited products and variations, manage, yeah, perfect, that works for me. Awesome, so we have one right there, and let's go ahead and let's continue with a third one. So we can go ahead and we can just pretty much copy this whole thing right here, and we can have it paste underneath, and then we can just change the content. So it's right there, and then I want to go ahead and I have a fourth one as well. Actually, what do we have? On the other one we have 4, so let's go ahead and let's change it, and then let's change the images right away. So what we want to do is on the third one we want to do icon analytics, and then on the fourth one we want to have icon shield, and then I can go ahead and I can just change the content to this. So instead of analytics we're going to have that, and then for our shield we can go ahead and we can just add any text that we want. So that's the text I've decided to go with, but you can of course go ahead and like change it to be your own. And then let's see what it looks like on the resizing, and that looks perfect to me. So good job if we got to this point here, that's awesome, and that's our third section done. Yeah, looks good. And now I'm going to go ahead and build out, let's see what other component we gotta build out. So, okay, so we have this one underneath, and I believe this one's called our fourth section. And this one's rather straightforward, it's just one tag, it's really just one line of code here. So let's do just trying to organize a folder here on my computer. So I have this, okay. So let's go ahead into our app folder. Let's go and create another folder called fourth. So not like that. Let's call it fourth dash section. Let's create a new one called page.tsx. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to say sfc. And then we're going to say fourth section like this. Div. And then we're going to say hi. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and we can immediately just jump into this one right away because it's pretty straightforward. So we'll do div, I'll do class name, I'll do text, not text right here, sorry. We'll do items, center, flex, justify, center, and then I want to have a padding of y-10 for the, the height. So I want to add another div underneath. Class name, give me text, center, md, text 6xl. I want to keep it consistent with what we were previously using, and that was like the 6xl. So then we're going to do text 4xl. So anything that is smaller than a medium screen will have 4xl, and that will look like this. Let's go ahead with, so that'll look like that. Cool. Okay, let's jump back to our project, and then we can go ahead and we can say 4xl, and then we can go ahead and we can apply the gradient. So delete that there. I'll do bg gradient to 2, and I want to go to the right this time. I want to go to say from blue 800 to purple, and then I want to do 300. So bg clip text, I'm going to do text transparent, and I want to do pb-10 font bold, and then here I want to go ahead and I want to say content management system made simple. Perfect. And that'll be that one, and then we can go ahead and we can just add our video underneath. So div class name, I'm going to do justify center, we're going to do items, center, flex, and then we're going to do md pt-10, and then we can add in our video. So if you want to use the video that you've currently been using this entire time, or you want to get a different one, it's up to you really at this point. So we'll do md, I'll do width 2/3, so 66%. I'll do autoplay muted, and then I will do loop, and then I will also say source, and then I will refer to video 4. So if I think this would be a great chance to go into Pexels and really just grab any video that you like and then kind of bring it in here as well. So I also have a video that you guys can use, and then you can grab it. So this is what it looks like for me, and that is pretty much the entire 4 section. So let's go ahead and let's actually import this to our page.tsx, and you can go ahead and view it. So 4th section. So if you want to like stay consistent with what I've been currently doing, it's / the name of the folder, and then just page.tsx, and then the keyword for that, or the keyword that's reserved is page. So /page on at the end of each of these. Then let's go ahead and let's see what that looks like. Okay, cool. That works for me, yeah. Got the content management system. So my thinking with the startup is that this will preferably refer to like some sort of like screen recording or something kind of like where VoiceFlow has it, where you're able to see what the product is from like the back end and then kind of preview that there. So similar to like how this sort of like layout looks here once we get to a point with a working product. Cool. All right, so I believe we have like 1 or 2 more. Yeah, so we got the pricing here, and then we got this little card at the bottom as well as a footer. So 3 more sections to go, and then we'll be all wrapped up here. So let's go ahead and let's do our pricing one. So this one, we could call it the fifth section, or you could go ahead and you can just call it pricing. It's up to you really. Pricing, let's just change it up. So we'll do pricing, and then we'll do page.tsx. And then I actually want to change pricing to be lowercase. So pricing, okay, cool. And that works. So let's go ahead and let's do this. So we're gonna do SFC, we're gonna do pricing as caps, and then I'm going to add in a div here. So I'm gonna say pricing, and then I'm going to go ahead and start mapping through the different features. And again, what we currently have with these features being like all changeable within an array. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, above this function, I'm going to go ahead and create an array. So const, you can call it const pricing, you can call it const features. I think features makes a lot more sense in terms of like what we're actually going to be talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and I've already kind of have these ones here, so I'm just going to use that. And again, you can go ahead and copy and paste that. You can change them to be your own. You can add your own. Like it really is up to you what you want to put here, because it's just going to loop through the array and then it's going to pull the data. So for your startup, if you don't have like any of this set out, maybe we don't also, I'm just kind of using it as dummy data, you can go ahead and you can change it. So if there's a different thing, if there's, I don't know, color, weight, or really whatever you're talking about, it can be all added in there. So this one has a number of classes names applied to it. So let's just jump right in. So flex call, then we can do justify center, we can do items center, and then we're gonna go, oh, not like that. Let's create another div. Let's call it the class name. Let's do text 4XL, text center, MD text 6XL. Then I'm gonna do font dash bold. And then I'm gonna also do the gradient. So BG gradient to the right, and I want to do I want to make this one black. So I'll do from black to where is that, to gray 500. BG clip text transparent, and I want to do MD PB-10, and then I want to kind of see what that looks like. So I'm going to remove that there, and I'm just going to put pricing underneath here. Cool. And then let's see if we're able to, one thing that we have to do is we have to go into our page.tsx and we have to import it as well. So pricing / pricing page, and then we can go ahead and we can view it. So it looks like, okay, so a little refresh there, and then we got our pricing. So it looks like it's working, but it's not. So let's go ahead and figure out what's going on there. So we got flex call. Do we do BG clip text? We did, yes. Okay. Flex call item center. Text 4XL text center. Okay, I'm gonna make sure that we're gonna have to separate these. So when you're debugging code like this, I think it's always best to put everything in a column, just so that you can kind of see what you're doing. Oh, so I found the mistake, right? So right here where it says BG clip text, like I have text twice. So you want to do BG clip text, and then you also want to do text dash transparent. So that was the issue, and then you can see that it's being resolved. It gets resolved right away. So yeah, so text was the two words are the same, so they look like it was just one. Okay, let's continue working from there, and then we can say div, we can say class name, we can say text 2XL text center MD text 4XL font bold MD PY-10, and then we can say simple and transparent pricing plans for all businesses. I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. And let's keep that. And then we can go ahead and underneath the div that we just closed, and underneath the second one, we can go ahead and we can actually render out our different cards. So let's do div class name MD flex, and then we can actually render out. So we'll do features dot map, and we're also going to need the index. So let's do index as well, and then let's go into div. That should also auto close. Okay. So div key, we're gonna do index class name p-4, and then I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say div. And then open up another one, and I should also have another one that's closing here. That's fine. Okay, we'll do div class name, and then we're gonna go ahead and render out the grid. So again, I highly recommend when you're styling with like a lot of different like utility classes like this, I'd recommend going down in like a column, so it's just easier to see. Item center, we'll do gap 4, border, rounded XL, rounded XL, p-4, width is going to be 96, which is the maximum that we can do for pixels with Tailwindcss without like stuff breaking. So H96 as well, and again keep everything like simple, and then we can go ahead and we can actually render out our name of the card. So let's do div class name, and then for this one I want to do text 2XL, I should say, sorry, text black pb-4, and then I want to close the styling there, and then I want to say feature dot name, and then I want to close that div like this, and then I want to have another one. So hopefully I get the autofill there, and I do. So with the price, then I get the fees, and then I'm also going to have the description as well. So let's see if I can get that one to populate, and I do. Okay, cool. So let's do that, and then awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove some of the stylings for this one. So for example, I only want the name to be XXL, but the other ones are going to be not. So I'm going to close this as well. And then I'm also going to remove the padding on these because I don't necessarily need it other than the top one. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say div. I'm going to make sure it closes properly. I'm going to do div class name BG blue 500, text white, and this is going to be a get started button, so you can again brand it to your own styling or whatever you'd like. You can change the get started, you can make it get like today, or you can just do really whatever you want. Rounded XL, items, center, justify, center, and then we're going to put some text in there in between. So we're going to say get started. Cool. And let's go ahead and underneath the last two divs, there should be 3 divs here, and then we're going to properly address this. So it's, yeah, this is correct here with the bracket, and then the curly bracket. And then let's go ahead and see what we get. Awesome. Fantastic. This is exactly what we want. And it looks exactly what we have in our demo website. So I'll quickly go back to that, and then you can kind of see what it looks like. And then here, you can see that it looks like pretty good as well. So fantastic. And then what does it look like if we want small? And it's spread out like this, which is good. Okay, fantastic, yeah. So let's continue. And again, something I want to add in here is like these pricings for our specific startup are just not accurate right now. As of right now, we don't have a product, so these will be like susceptible to be changed very soon. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about the $80 a month. We'll probably be around like 20 just to start, if for like an idea of what we want to build. And I kind of want to introduce that into like maybe like a later video, or maybe make a whole video on it like by itself, kind of like what our product market fit is, like, and all that sort of stuff. So you can expect that pretty soon. Hopefully by the end of next week I can get another video out. But yeah, so let's continue with this web page. So we did our pricing, and then let's go see what else our final component is. I believe it's this thing. Yeah, it is. Okay. So start building with bird today. We can go ahead and we can build this one pretty quickly. So we can call that, let me go back into our page.tsx. So we have a fourth section. Okay, so let's just call it our fifth section then. And again, I don't know why I keep doing this. It's for folders like structure, like the naming convention. I usually do a dash for my files and my folders because I just think it's easier to read. So fifth section, and then we'll do page.tsx, and then sfc, fifth section, and then div, and then let's go ahead and let's create this really quickly. So this one we're gonna have a, I mean we can put a link, but again, there's no real configurations right now. So we'll do md py-20, and then on any screen smaller, we're gonna do a 10 pixel or 10 border, 10 padding, I should say. And then we're gonna do div class name, do border 1 pixel, and then we can also say we'll do md. We'll do md. Should be, sorry, I was looking for the colon there. 2/3, 2/3. We'll do mx auto, and then we're gonna do padding 10 as well. So rounded XL, and then we can go ahead and create another div inside, and this is where we're gonna have our text. So let's do text for XL. We don't need it to be too big because it's already kind of at the bottom of our page, and I don't know, it's not really necessarily important. So text MD, text for XL. They're both for XL, so we don't need to specify. We can do font bold, and then we can do 5 as well. So let's do start building your online store today works for me, and then underneath we can go ahead and we can create a another div. So underneath this div, we should have another div, and it's even smaller text, and actually we don't even need class name here. We can just say curious about how Bird can help your business. Get in touch with our teams. Get in touch with our team to learn more about the platform and see how we can help you grow your business. That's perfect. That's good text to me. It's really clear and makes sense. So we can leave it at that. And then underneath this, what we can do is we can go ahead and we can create a button. So this button, of course, it doesn't do anything right now, but we can just have it as like a get started button. So BG blue 500 text white. We can do PX6 PY3 MD width 1/4, and then we're going to do MT-5 rounded LG as well. Cool. And then let's just actually put in some text. So contact sales, or us, or I mean it can be anyone really. And then let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So underneath our pricing, we'll create a fifth section, and let's see what this looks like now. So perfect, works for me. And then on smaller screens, so one thing that I want to do right away is, I mean, immediately this video is just popping out to me. So let's go ahead and we can actually fix this relatively quickly, but this component here does look really good. So I'm glad the way that this turned out here. Yeah, it looks good to me. Maybe I get rid of the border on something I change, or there's a lot of borders going on, but I kind of like it as like the theme of the shop. And a lot of our components that we are building out for the e-commerce do have borders in the stores and stuff like that. So, okay, that's fine. We can maybe address it later. But so let's go back up until what video was it here? Where there's just this video is just huge. This one looks good. This one looks massive. So in our fourth section, I want to go ahead and I just want to do P-10 like this. And now it looks proper. So all I did there is I changed the medium to not be the only one where it looks or has the sound impacted, but this to me looks good. What I would do actually maybe to stay consistent with what we already had previously is I would change the PT to -10, but then I would just make it P10. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, I think that should resolve our issues. Yeah, so these two are square, like they're in the same line with each other. And then once I get to a smaller screen, if it will let me, okay, yeah. If I go into here, it should be also smaller. Okay, and it is, yeah. So the video is no longer like jumping out off the screen. And for the last component that we have to build, it's going to be our footer. So this one is relatively simple. We can do that right away. Let's go into our app, let's create a new folder, and we'll call it footer. And then we can go ahead and put our page.csx. So footer is a great place to kind of capture user information, whether it's like subscribing to like a newsletter, or it's like getting in touch with your socials. This is generally the place where I'd recommend kind of having all that information about your business. So I'll do this, and then not sheet footer, I just want to do footer. Okay, it's just autocorrected twice in a row now. I'm gonna manually type it out. So I'm gonna go and say footer, and then I'm going to kind of apply some styling really quickly. So this one, we could go ahead and we could use the array option, but I think it'll just take a lot of time, and we've been using that method. It works, so if you want to go ahead and use it, you can feel free, more than free, to kind of take it on your own there. So this one will be, I think we'll just do more static, kind of like appearance. So border -t, we'll do 1 pixel, and then we can go say hidden. We can say MD block. So what we're saying is it's going to be hidden unless it's a medium screen, and then once it's a medium screen, it's going to appear. So that's what we want, where you could really have it in your footer here, but I mean, I just don't think it'll look the best. Maybe we could try here at the end, but in the original one we do not. So let's see this, and then let's add some styling. So I want to do div. I want to do class name. We can do flex, which we can do justify evenly. Go ahead and we can do gap-4. We can do p-4, and then we can also do div, and then we can do another div inside of this one. We can go ahead and we can say class name flex call. We can do p-4 cursor pointer, and then we can do text xl, and then this one will say support center, and then I'm going to go ahead and see what this looks like. So do we have the footer imported into this page? Let's go check. We do not. So underneath here we'll say footer, and then we're going to import it. So let's go ahead. Okay, so we have our support center there. And personally, what I'm really good with right now is, considering that a lot of these links are not actually built out, I feel as if we could maybe just leave it to something where it's like all rights reserved, all rights reserved, and then we can do like maybe at 2023 by bird, for example. You can really just you could really like change it to anything you want, but I feel as though right now it's probably the most fitting. And of course, like anytime that we make changes to our landing pages, I'm going to post videos on how we did it, and then you guys can obviously learn from it and kind of like add bits and pieces to the project. So I mean, yeah, so as of right now, I think that kind of concludes the landing page. I like the state of it right now. Some things I'd like to add are definitely more animations once I get more comfortable with frame of motion, and also once we have like more of the product built out, I feel as if like they'll tie in more nicely, and we can go ahead and we can like essentially keep adding stuff to our landing page to make it as complete as possible, and then we can always go ahead and post videos and to kind of teach you guys how to build something similar as well. So yeah, as of right now, I think that's good for now, and I'm going to kind of conclude it on that note. So yeah, I guess the last thing would be to deploy to Vercel. So I'm going to quickly show you guys how to do that. So if you don't have an account, be sure to make one. Vercel here, you can just go. It will like ask you to connect your GitHub, and then make sure that your code is posted to your GitHub. So I have an extension here like I'm signed in, into my VS Code, I'm signed in with my GitHub account. And so what I can do is I can like automatically create a repository to my GitHub through this extension. So um, I can show you what that looks like. Is this extension, not this one, GitHub repository is right here. So if you want to feel free to download this one. You can commit a GitHub repository like directly inside of your VS Code, which is, I mean, is a huge bonus than trying to set it up manually or by yourself. I just feel like a lot can go wrong. So I'm going to kind of show you how I do it for mine. So I download the extension. It's going to ask you like just to configure your account to make sure that you're signed in. They might send you like a text or whatever. Just go ahead and do that. And then right away you can go into your source control. And then you can just type anything you want. So you can just say like hello, for example, and then it says there are no stage commits to commit. Would you like to stage all your changes? So you're just going to click yes, and then it's going to say like there's no branch, like it's not actually been created yet. So we can go ahead and we can just say landing page version 1, for example, v1, and then we can click publish branch, and then you see that immediately I'm prompted with, do you want to make it a private or a public repository, as well as it will refer to what GitHub like account you're signed into. So mine just Iggy Tech, and I want to make mine a public, so I'm going to click public, and then it's going to automatically from there upload the files, and then it happens rather instantaneously with Vercel, where this repository is going to get committed, and then from there I'm going to be able to pull that same repository in here as well, and then I can go ahead and I can add a domain, or I can do whatever I'd like from Vercel on there. So I got a message saying successfully published, and I can go ahead and I'm going to reload this page. So reload the page, I'm going to go ahead and add new, and then I'm going to click project, and then it should say a landing page right there. So it didn't say landing page v1, which is okay, so it looks like it was just called landing page, which is fine with me. But yeah, so landing page was successfully created. Usually it's going to be the one that says just now, so I mean that's just kind of a heads up on like how fast this thing really is. So let's go ahead and let's import it, and then I'm just going to click deploy right away because I have no environment variables or anything of that such. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wait. It shouldn't take too long considering that we don't have like anything really other than like CSS and like styling and stuff like that being built out. So once it's done, essentially it's just going to say congratulations, and then you're going to be able to get a link, and that link is something you'll be able to share to your friends and stuff like that. So this one, for example, was one that I deployed on Vercel. You can see it has like a Vercel tag or anchor tag here at the end of the link, and then yeah, you can go ahead and you can send that, and then people can preview it. And this was the one, and then we went ahead and ours is being deployed as of right now. So I mean, with that being said, I think that's going to conclude the rest of this video. I've kind of ran out of words to say. I'm kind of repeating myself a bit here, but yeah, I mean, that's it. If you guys want to leave a like, a comment, if you guys want to subscribe to, really kind of just give any sort of input or feedback on the product or the landing page or what you want to see next on the project or the project or also on the channel, that would all be super appreciated and kind of taken into consideration. So, all right, that's it for me, and I'll see you on the next one.